What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Nino Barksdale, and I'm back with another commentary on Diecast City. And this one is titled Chapter 9, Dock of the Bay. And this particular restaurant, this is my recreation of Rayo's, very popular restaurant that was in New York. And so had a lot of mob activities there, mafia influence. So it's still there today, but but it's very hard to get into this restaurant. You gotta have reservations. People have tables reserved for them, so people, it's very excluded. Very hard to get a reservation at this restaurant, but it's very good. I've never been there myself, but it's very good. What I heard. But this is kind of introducing the Caprese family, and also the D'Amico. They've been talked about. You've seen a little glimpse of them, but you get more of the D'Amico family, which is old man DiMaggio right there. He's the boss, like a traditional old school mob boss. And then Caprese, he's the boss, Big Boy Caprese. He's the boss of the Caprese family. And that's Big Boy Caprese from Dick Tracy. That's I got a lot of the Dick Tracy characters for the Caprese family. That's his family. And then the Simpson characters, Fat Tony, old man DiMaggio. They're all like the Simpson Mafia family. So that's how you can differentiate who is part of which faction. So now, this is a Tarantino family episode, but you get to see the wider world, how big the mafia families go. There's actually 4 families in Diecast City. You got the Belantes, you got the Tarantinos, which are like the primary focus for the first few chapters, for the first half of this series. And then you have the D'Amicos, and then you have the Capreses. So those are the 4 mafia families that make up Diecast City. So you'll see more and more of them a little bit, by each chapter. But this is just like introducing the Capreses, letting you know that they are around, they do exist. It's not just dominated by JoJo. And so this is a pretty good episode. I liking how doing cold openings is a standard now for this series. This is Paulie. This is JoJo's underboss, and Carmine. That's his brother-in-law. That's JoJo's brother-in-law. Younger. He's the younger brother to his wife. So, but anyways, this is Carmine, Joey Muscles. There's beating up a union, a longshoreman who's been causing trouble, and then they're trying to get him to be on board with the changes that's going on the docks. So that's what he's handling. This is a strip club scene, got some, got Poppy over there from Trolls. I got the Simpson, a couple other, but like I said, I try to make it funny, but yeah, I like creating this scene. I got the little booths, I got the stage. It's just fun. I feel like, kind of like this is their version of the Bada Bing from The Sopranos. Yeah, so you got JoJo, like he's meeting up with one of his another mate guy in there. That's his cousin. That's little Rudy, as he's sitting there talking about. He runs the strip club, and they're devising a plan to blackmail the mayor. And the mayor, he has a fixation for strippers, So we'll see how that plays out in later episodes. But yeah, Fat Tony, this is Fat Tony right here. Fat Tony D'Amico, he's the underboss of the D'Amico family, and him and JoJo, they got a good relationship, good working relationship. They meet, they talk, they could be amicable about certain things, situations. They represent the younger generation. Not young like 20-year-olds, but they're like the younger bosses, they're in their 40s. Late 40s. I mean, like about to say mid 40s. But anyways, Fat Tony's letting JoJo know about. So in the opening scene, Caprese was meeting with Big Boy Caprese was meeting with old man DiMaggio about his issues with the Tarantinos controlling the docks, and that's one of their biggest money makers is the docks. So the D'Amicos, they run the airports. They control all of that, like hijacking, cargo, all that kind of stuff. The Tarantinos control the docks, which is very profitable. And then the Caprices, they control the trucking unions. So things, like any like trucks that's coming in. So like they all, it's kind of divided equally, but the trucking unions is kind of suffering a little bit more than the docks or the airports. So the D'Amicos and Tarantinos, they're the wealthier of the families, and the Caprices they're trying to get more. So that's what the whole first scene was them negotiating. And so this right here is this JoJo meeting up with like his trusted guys. You have Paulie, that's the underboss. He's updating him about what happened at the docks. Got Flat Top with the Hammerhead from the Spider-Man series. His character, that's who like that's his figure. So, but yeah, I just like how he looks, man. Like he's straight. Like these guys are like they all got good suits. They look like mob characters, mafia characters. But yeah, he's planning things out, saying that like Fat Tony came and told him that the Caprices want to negotiate more with the docks. Yeah, and this is a introduction to Uncle Lorenzo. Uncle Lorenzo, he's the actual boss. So at this particular time, JoJo was only acting boss. He's not the official boss yet. Uncle Lorenzo is the boss, but he's kind of been semi-retired. He's going through cancer treatment. So his medical conditions is keeping him from off the street, but JoJo still checks up on him. He still seeks out his advice. He respects him as a boss, but Lorenzo's letting him run things as he sees fit, and he just updates him. So this right here is at Uncle Lorenzo's house. He doesn't live in a mansion. He's almost like Uncle Junior. He doesn't want to be seen as like a greedy boss. He's old school.
Read about it. It's all over
so this is Uncle Lorenzo. He's very informed of what's going on. And then JoJo, he's more reasonable. When it comes to certain things. He wants to maintain the peace within all four families. JoJo wants to keep the power to the Tarantinos, and whatever anybody else needs, like they're secondary, like that. But he wants them to keep the power. But Uncle Lorenzo, he sees the bigger picture. He knows that you don't want to have beef, you don't want to have war with the other families. You got to spread it around. You got to share. We can't be seen as keeping out from the commission, from their version of the commission. So JoJo, he always gets advice from Uncle Lorenzo. And this is Angelo, the Tarantino's consigliere, and then that's his son, Junior, AJ. Like so, then the last episode of chapter 7, like his son, and this is Johnny Boy Santucci, and then Petey Santucci, and that's his son. That's Johnny Boy's son. Is Peter Santucci right there, and then AJ Angelo Jr. That's Angelo Romano's son. And they had a little fight. They had a little scuffle at a club in the last episode. So right now, they're making them squash the beef. It's like, hey, we don't got time for this shit.
Just got a temper.
You kids come from good bloodline. You guys are probably going to be working with each other. So these are like the future up-and-coming mobsters. As far as like Peter Santucci, Angelo, he's more of a college kid. His son, Angelo doesn't really want him. Angelo Sr. doesn't want him involved. But we'll see where that goes.
And a few other shell companies at our disposal. May the cash keep flowing.
Yeah. And this is JoJo. It's showing how like he does like they share profits. He shared profits with the D'Amicos. He has that's Fat Tony right there with the D'Amicos. You got Charlie. He's a underboss with that's the Caprici underboss. So he has a relationship. He does try to listen to what his uncle told him. Share profits, and this is what he means. He wants to have good. Don't burn bridges. So he's gonna tell Charlie to reach out to Big Boy so they can negotiate, maybe giving them a higher percentage on the docks. So that's gonna be a later scene, but yeah, it's good just to show. I'm like, this one was really just trying to have these other characters introduced to the world, where it doesn't feel like where did they come from? You know, I want people to understand that this is a bigger world than just this block. There's a history there between tradition and how things are controlled, how things are ran. And this is one of my series favorite, Frankie Miami, who's meeting up with Angelo. And Angelo wants Frankie to look out for Angelo Jr. So this is where Angelo says that, yeah, he doesn't know. I want you to look out for my son. Like, this life ain't for him. So make sure he stays on the straight and narrow.
Of course they are. I'll look out for him.
But
I've got to play nice.
Yeah, that's Peter Santucci and his I forgot what his name is, the guy he's with, but like that's one of his best friends. You know, like they do like little drug dealers. You know, they're not really, they're trying to be seen, trying to get noticed more by, like they're, like you said, like they're part of the farm team. It's really in development. It's the early development of them, you know. So Peter, you know, like Peter Santucci, he's gonna be working with Angelo. He's gonna be working with Matty G, Richie, and then so they're all gonna be kind of like friends and like their own little junior crew, you know. But this is just them showing how ambitious he is. You know, he wants more. He doesn't just want to be the son of a made guy, the son of a capo, because that's what his father is. Johnny Boy is a capo in the Tarantino family, so he feels entitled to earn just like how his dad is. You know, be seen. He wants to be that kind of guy. So this is just outside the social club. You know, we got this is the meeting between the Caprices and the Tarantino family.
I understand your position,
and I'm willing to get it's just like, again, it's just like having them conversate, having them show that it's not gonna be one-sided, you know, but it just showed the tension between them, you know. Like Caprice, he's a little more, you know, he's more about, like, he has clubs, a lot of clubs and nightlife. So the reason why he's been cut out of the docks is because, like, there was containers that had females, women that were in there that he was trafficking, and some of them died and washed up on shore, and it was a big investigation which kind of shut down the docks for a moment. And then that's why they're reminding him, is like, we can't have this anymore. You know, like, I know, like, I don't get involved with what you do, but as far as the docks, that's just not happening. But we will allow you to have 25%, and we'll give you a few no-show jobs. And they both agree, you know, a little back and forth, but they agree. This is Little Italy. Just a little, you know, I try to, you know, Little Italy's gonna come back. You know, I'm gonna make like a festival scene pretty soon in later episodes. But this is just like the main, the hub, the mafia hub, and this is like pretty much a peace dinner. You know, this is where JoJo, he's really taking what Uncle Lorenzo told him, and he's trying to reach out and maintain good relationship with the other families. So he has the D'Amicos there, he has Old Man DiMaggio, he has the Caprici family, and he just shows him, like, you know, sending out an olive branch. You know? So just a beautiful scene. I like this, you know, very slow-mo, like a couple slow-mo scenes, just tracking shots. It's just, to me, I love this scene. It's, like I said, this episode, I don't want to have every episode's not going to be like somebody getting killed, somebody getting whacked, you know, beaten. I'm very big on story, and I want the story to make sense. I want the action and the violence to make sense with the story. So this is just like, you know, one of my favorite one of my favorite story-driven scenes. My favorite story-driven episodes, as a matter of fact. Traditions, morals, family. That's what we represent. And JoJo, you know, JoJo showing how charismatic he is, how he can control the room. You know, everybody's listening. They respect JoJo. Medical conditions. All three families. He's saying, and he supports all of us getting how, like, it's been a long time since they all got together like this. So we'll see how this works out. You know, we'll see if they maintain this peace, or if something's going to happen that's going to cause conflict between them. But anyways, thank you again for tuning in, and, you know, stay tuned for the next one. I'm having fun doing these commentaries, and I hope you guys have fun listening to them. Thank you. Just take care. Peace.